we have seen an overview on automation and Selenium WebDriver. Just we have seen a brief introduction. From today onwards, we will deep dive into Python programming. So as a part of that, this is what an introductory session where we will install PyCharm, Python, how you can run Python, PyCharm using this Python code. So we will see in this today's class. So very important class, very beginning to this Python. So where we will have all the installations here. Let me show you one by one how you can do installations. So first session, introduction to Python programming. Most of the people might be knowing this, but don't worry, please have some patience. So there are newbies as well, they need to understand. So what is a Python? As like other programming languages, Python is used for variety of purposes. So as a part of that, when I see the overall definition of Python, Python is an high level general purpose. Very important point, general purpose. Case sensitive programming language. Case sensitive programming language. Very important point, guys. When I am saying high level general purpose, high level means if it is a low level, machine can understand. If it is high level, humans can understand, can read, can write. So Python is like a simple English statements which are high level, which are at the high level. So when I am saying general purpose, not only for single purpose, it can be used for wide variety of things. You talk about backend development. You talk about this data related stuff. You talk about this automation. You talk about these LLMs. So for different purposes, for wide variety of purposes, you will use Python. As I have said, Python is case sensitive programming language, not it's a case insensitive, case sensitive programming language. Suppose, let me make you understand. So this is what the variable, let me take the variable as var. I'm storing some value in this variable with 10. Now, if I specify another variable var, so if I store the value as 20. So when I use this print statement, when I specify var, similarly, when I specify capital VAR, what this will do, this small var will print 10. This capital VAR, which is a variable, will print 20. So that means variables which you are defined are having different letters, different characters, which are at lowercase, at uppercase. So that is the reason if you define any variable or anything, it is in Python, it is a case sensitive programming language. Depending upon the case, you will be able to access the value. Python is a high level general purpose case sensitive programming language. Also, Python is open source language. Open source language. Open source language. That means you can see its source code. By seeing its source code as per your requirements, you can change its source code. Suppose there is a Linux at the very beginning, you have Unix operating system. So based on that source code, lot of companies like Red Hat, you'll be having a lot of companies where they have used that source code and they have implemented their own flavors. Similarly, if you have a specific requirement which is used for your company or for your requirement, for your purpose, you can see the source code of Python from which it has been implemented. You can modify its source code accordingly. You can use as per your requirements. So that means to make it to work it as per your requirements, you need to know the source code. So Python is an open source language. You can see its source code. Once you develop program in Python, that program you can execute in multiple platforms. When I am saying multiple platforms, Windows operating system, Linux operating system, as well as Mac operating system. So in these multiple platforms, you can execute your Python program. So it is a platform independent, you can execute your code once you have written in one platform in another platforms as well. So one more important point, when you see the difference between different programming languages, let me show you here. This is what some demo websites which I have just taken for your a reference, guys. So you can see this is what a C compiler, this is what C++ compiler, Java compiler, Python compiler. So if you see what I am doing, I'm achieving same thing. What I am achieving, I need to print hello world in the console. When I click on run in the C, you can see it has been printed in the console. But what you need to do, you are achieving the same operation in multiple compilers. If you see here, this is C++ compiler, this is Java compiler, this is Python compiler. You can see it here. You are achieving the same results, but to achieve the same results in different programming languages, you need to write different lines of code. In C, you need to write almost some 6 to 7 lines of code. Similarly, C++ also. Similarly, Java also. In Java, without class, you cannot create anything. Coming to Python, with one single statement, what you are doing, you are achieving the same result, which is possible in other programming languages. So if you see the comparison between all these languages, Python is simpler than other programming languages, simpler than other programming languages. Very important point. So that is the reason nowadays, if you can talk about these chat GPTs which are based on LLMs, they need data, they need a data feed. So the data is provided by big data engineers. So most of the big data engineers nowadays, instead of Hadoop, since Hadoop is tightly coupled with big data engineering ecosystem, SpicePark is mainly used, which everybody can learn Python within no time. They can able to achieve whatever they want. So it is simpler than other programming languages. This is what a brief introduction about Python programming. Once you know introduction, you need to understand history, from where this Python has been implemented. History of Python. So you should know this history as well, because without you anyway will use this in your daily purposes, but you need to know from where this Python has been implemented. So Python implementation was started in December 1989. Most of the people will think Java is the first programming language than Python. It's absolutely false. Python is the first programming language which was implemented in 1989 by Guido van Rossum. Guido van Rossum, he is a scientist at CWI Labs. CWI Labs in Netherlands, nothing but Centrum Wiskunde and Informatica Labs in Netherlands. So in that labs, Guido van Rossum have implemented this Python programming language. Now, you might surprise why the name Python. Instead of Python, he could have named it some another name, right? The reason is during 1989, there is a program called Monty Python Flying Circus. Monty Python Flying Circus. This is what the program during 1989, it was displayed in BBC TV shows. So from this name, he has inspired. Also inspired by this name. So to name that particular language, that name should be short, unique, and slightly mysterious name. So when I am saying mysterious name, when I say that name, anybody should have some attention to that specific name. So that is the reason. So out of this multiple words, he has taken Python. So Monty Python's Flying Circus is at the 1989 TV show in the BBC. So from that particular show name, he has inspired and he has taken Python as a programming language name. At the very beginning, when he was implemented this Python, after 1989, first version, nothing but zero version, has been released in the market in 1991. So if you can see, this is what the hierarchy. 1981, WAN published code, which is at the 0.9.0 version. So 0th version, it is very first version in the market. So in 1994, he also released 1.0 with new features like Lambda, very important function, map function, filter function, reduce function. So these are all the important functions. When we discuss this functions concept, you will get to know what these type of functions are, how they are implemented, how they are used. So during 1994, in Python 1, he has added these new features. In Python 2.0, in the recent versions after 1994, he also added this lift comprehensions. Very compact way, very easy and simplest way to create list. He also introduced this garbage collection system. Like, if any variable is not being referenced, it needs to be deleted. Otherwise, there is a memory issue. So to avoid this, automatic garbage collection system has been implemented by when in Python 2.0. So on December 3, 2008, Python 3 was released. Right now in the market, we are having 3.xx version. So right now in our code, we'll be using that 3.xx version, which we'll be downloading it from official website. So December 2008 onwards, 3 is there in the market right now. So if you can see that official website, you can see the version of that Python. Now, he has implemented Python. Based on what he has implemented? Based on two programming languages, ABC language as well as Modular 3 language. So these are the languages which are there at that specific point of time. He has combined advantages of one language along with advantages of another language, which he has derived this Python programming language, which we'll be going to learn further. Now, once you know history of Python, you need to know how to work with Python. Before going to work with Python, you need Python in your local machine. Installation of Python. Installation of Python. So how you can install Python? You can install Python from the official website. From the official website. Let me make you understand how you can try to install that. Take a Google search for Python download. So this is what the official link, which you can see it here. Click on that official link. You can see right now in the market, you are having Python 3.12.5. So 3.xx version from 2008 onwards. Click on that. So if you are using Mac, if you are using Linux, click on this appropriate links, because most of the people are using nowadays Windows only. Let me make you understand how you can work with Windows. But let me provide you the material how you can install that in Linux or Mac operating systems as well. So click on this download Python. So you can see here, this is an exe file as well. So once you click on download, double click on that. You can see it here. There is a Python which is already installed in my local machine. So that is the reason you are seeing this particular message. Now, let me try to execute this. Yeah, let me try to show you that how it looks like. Let me open this code, Microsoft code. You can see it here. Once you click on that exe file, this particular window will appear. So this is what the window, it will appear into, it will pop up on your home page. So you can see it here, install now. These are the two options. First option, install now. Second option is customize installation. Once you click on install now, Python will be installed automatically. So before that, what you need to do, you need to check this particular checkbox. Add Python to path. The reason is, if you don't check this path at the installation, what you need to do, you need to do it manually. How you can do? Search for environmental variables. You can see it here. This is what environmental variables. Click on that. So you can see these are all the system variables. In the system variable, there is a path. Edit that. So you can see Python is automatically installed it here. See, so let me show you that as well. So Python, yeah, you can see it here. So if you can see Python latest version, you can see Python latest version scripts. So let me edit that. So because system root is nothing but an environmental variable, in that environmental variable, I am storing that Python. So the same thing, you can see it here. It will be automatically added to this environmental variable if you just click on this checkbox at the very beginning. But if you don't check this, you need to do it manually. You need to click on edit. You need to add that particular path, like you can see here, Python latest version script. I have customized this location, but in your case, don't try to do this. Just try to click on install button. Before clicking on install button, try to check this particular checkbox. Now, once you click on install now, once Python is installed in your local machine, what is the proof that it is installed in your local machine? So to check whether Python is properly installed or not, what you need to do, go to command prompt. So click on search bar, search for command prompt, click on open. So once you click on open, this is what the window it will open, command prompt window. Now you need to issue this command. What is that command? Python. Once you issue that particular command, you can see this is what the version which I have installed. So in your case, it may be 3.12.5. So yes, you can upgrade it. Otherwise, if you are already having in your local machine. So those who are beginners, once you click on download on that specific button, 12.5, it will be downloaded automatically. Once you install, you can see it here, 3.12.5 version, which is installed in your local machine. Now, along with this version, you can also see a prompt here. Prompt is nothing but asking for user input, waiting for user input. Suppose let me try to use it. Print of, so I'm just using 3 plus 5. This is what one input which I am just giving, 3 plus 5. You can see it here. Total result is 8. 8 has been printed in the console. So it is again asking for the prompt. It is again waiting for the user input. Now, once you again specify that input, it will be accordingly execute that action and it will give you the result. But this is not the proper place where you'll be going to code in future. But once you install Python, this is the way how you need to check. Once you install Python in your machine, you need to know how you can run that Python code. So to run that Python code, what you need to do, you have 3 ways. Any one of the way you can use and you can execute your Python code. So let me show you that. So if you can see ways to run Python code. Very important thing, guys. At the very beginning, you need to understand this. Ways to run Python code. So how you can run Python code? So there are 3 ways. Generally, we have not installed any PyCharm. We are only with respect to Python, we are executing our code. So what are the 3 different ways how you can run your Python code? First way is run through IDLE. IDLE is nothing but Python shell. Nothing but Python shell. IDLE, integrated development learning environment, not IDE. IDE is different. IDLE is different. IDLE is nothing but a shell. When you install Python in your local machine, it will be automatically available. So it is only meant for learning purposes. Ideally, integrated development learning environment. This name itself says learning. You are learning. So at the very beginning, you don't know how to write a complex program. So for that, you need to learn. For learning, you need this ideally. So it is nothing but a Python shell. Where you can get this Python shell, just click on the search bar. So if you can see, search for ideally. Ideally. Once you search for ideally, this is what a app, you can see it here. Click on that. Once you click on that, you can see this is what an ideally, as like in the previous case. When you are executing some simple input in the command prompt, the same input you can see it here. It is asking for the prompt. It is asking for the user input along with the version. Now, how you can run the code by using this IDLE? You can see it here. Let me print off welcome to Python programming. This is what the first statement. I'm just printing it here, guys. Welcome to Python programming. So once I click on enter, you can see here it is raising some error. The reason is so I am just specifying this capital P. So it should not be, it should be small p. As I have said, Python is case sensitive programming language. There is no statement in Python with the name capital print. It should be small print. So let me execute it one more time. Welcome to Python programming. This is what first statement which I am just printing. When I click on enter, you can see what the same thing has been printed in the console. At a time, you can execute, you can give input only one statement. But if you want to write multiple lines of code, which is if you want to become an automation tester, if you want to become a developer, only one single line, with one single line, you will not be able to achieve anything. You need to write multiple lines of code. First, to understand how you can write multiple lines of code in the IDE, you need to understand how you can execute some simple statements in IDLE, Integrated Development Learning Environment. Just you can learn it here and you can just write multiple lines of code. This is what by using first way, running through IDLE. This is what first way. Now, what is the second way? You can run Python code. Run Python code by using command prompt. CMD. So how you can achieve that? Just now we have seen. Let me open that one more time, those who have missed. So this is what the command prompt. So once you search for Python, you can see it is asking for the prompt which is there as like in the IDLE. So now what you can do, I can just issue some simple statement, print of hello world. You can see it here, guys. Now, if you can see, once I click on enter, the same statement has been printed in the console. Like IDLE, command prompt is also like IDLE. You can execute only one single statement at a time. Now, if you want to have multiple lines of code, which is only meant for some small purpose, what you can do, you can specify that particular code in some Notepad or Notepad++. So last way is run code through Notepad or Notepad++. You can use Notepad or Notepad++. So let me make you understand. Let me go to any of the C drive location, C drive folder. So if you can see, I'm just coming here. So in this C drive, so if you can see, there is a users. So inside users, you are having Dell. So inside Dell, let me create one simple. Let me delete these previous ones. Let me delete this. These are the things which I have created previously. So if you can see, let me right click on new, click on text document. So demo program. This is what the name which I'm just giving it here, guys. So once you can see, this is what a notepad which I'm just opening. In this notepad, what I will do, I'll just specify some simple statements. So print hello world. This is my first program. This is first statement. Now I have two variables. One is x, one is y. In x, I am storing 100 as a value. In y, I am storing 200 as a value. Post that, I am just doing arithmetic operation, which is addition between these two variables. Now, what I will do, once I specify my program in Notepad, what I need to do, I need to save this Notepad with a .py extension. Let me write that point. Save it with .py extension. .py extension. Otherwise, you will not be able to execute this Python code. Any Python module is nothing but is having .py extension. Python module .py file. .py file. It's a thumb rule, guys. You should not forget this. You should not forget this. .py file is nothing but Python file. Python file. That Python file, I can call that as an module. Let me specify that. So if you can see, let me save that with .py extension. So if you can see it here, I'm just clicking on file, save as, click on all files, demo program, .py. So with the .py extension, I am just storing it del folder. So click on save. So once you click on save, just click on close this. So if you can see it here in the same location, you can see there is another file with the .py extension. It's a Python file. Now you have specified your Python code in Notepad or Notepad++. You have saved that with the .py extension. Now you need to execute this code. How you can execute this code? So just click on terminal. Click on this search bar, click on command prompt. So you need to provide name of that file or module along with Python. So if you can see it here, Python, I'm specifying what is that file name, demo program .py. Once I specify the name along with Python, once you click on enter, you can see two statements have been printed. It is not like an IDLE. Multiple statements, multiple lines of code, you can specify in Notepad or Notepad++. You can execute that at a time. Hello world, this is my first Python program. X equal to 100, Y equal to 200, 100 plus 200, it is 300. Result has been printed in the console. This is how you can run your Python code by saving that code in Notepad or Notepad++ with .py extension. So these are three ways how you can run your Python code. Just only once you install Python, you can achieve all these things. But at the end of the day, what you need to do when working on real-time projects, when working on real-time projects, when working on real-time projects, will not prefer above ways, because you need to code lot of lines. For coding lot of lines, these are not the appropriate ways. So we will not use above ways. So instead of that, we use editors. We will use editors. Editors, I can also call them as IDE, Integrated Development Environment. IDE is different, IDLE is different, IDE is different. Integrated Development Environment, development and learning environment. It is only for learning purposes. When I talk about this IDE, it is for development purposes, because in real-time projects, you need to develop a lot of lines of code. For that, you need this IDE. So most popular IDE with respect to Python for working with Python projects is PyCharm. Most of the people might be knowing this PyCharm, which is from JetBrains. So in this course, we'll be installing this PyCharm. As a part of this IDE, we will write a lot of lines of code as I have shown you in the first session for writing, for achieving an automation. Now what you need to do, you need to install PyCharm in your local machine. Installation of PyCharm. How you can install this PyCharm? As like you have installed this Python, you can install PyCharm also. Just go to Google. So search for PyCharm download. Once you search for, click on this PyCharm download, you can see this is what the official link. Click on that official link. So you can see it here. Once you open this official link, at the very beginning, you will see PyCharm professional version. But don't go ahead with professional version. What you need to do, you can install this community version. Community version is more than enough. When I go for this professional version, it's a trial version. Going ahead in upfront, you need to pay some amount. It is not required. Just to scroll down. Once you scroll down, you can see there is a PyCharm community edition name is available. So you can see it here. You can just, once you click on download, you can see a .exe file will be automatically downloaded. So if it is an ARM processor, you can just specify this particular file. If it is normal window, it's normal window processor, like you can just click on this .exe file. Anyone will work .exe file. So just to download this PyCharm community version, very, very important. Don't go ahead with professional version. Community version is more than enough for working with automation. Now, after installing this exe file, once you click on download, you can see it here. Download will be automatically started. You need to follow these steps. Let me specify that steps. So these are all the steps. Download and click install community version of Python. So from this particular link, you need to install that PyCharm. So if you don't know how you can install this from this specific version, I have specified a separate folder, softwares folder, in the Google Drive. Once you get access, you will be able to see that. So going ahead, you will be getting all the communications in the Google Drive along with the Google materials, session materials, course materials, all the stuff along with assignments. So once you install this community version, that means once it is downloaded, just go to downloads. So double click on that. Once you double click on that, you can see this is what the window you'll be able to see. You can see it here. Welcome to PyCharm Community Edition setup. Click on next. So you can see these are all the things which you can see it here. Uninstall old versions because I am already having PyCharm in my local machine. So that is the reason it is showing you this particular message. So if you are having, it will show you this particular message. Just click on that checkbox. So right now I am not going to modify anything. Just click on next. So once you click on next, in this specific location, so inside program files, inside JetBrains, inside PyCharm Community Edition folder, this particular PyCharm Community Edition exe file will be installed. Click on next. So once you click on next, you can see this is what the important window, very important window, guys. Because you can see it here, add bin folder to path. As like in Python installation, you have checked this add path to add what I can say add Python to path. Similarly, for PyCharm, bin is very important folder. You need to add bin to path. Nothing but path is nothing but environmental variables. So once you add path to environmental variables, not only from C drive, not only from one location. If you install anything to path, you can just run that, you can execute that, you can access that from any different locations, not only from C drive. Suppose if you are having D drive, E drive, or multiple locations as well. So this is what the advantage of adding path, adding variable to path, or adding any application to path. So as a part of that, you need to add bin folder to path. So once you add bin folder to path, these are all the other operations. Like you can just create desktop shortcut, update context menu. So if these are required, you can just check those checkboxes. So once you click on next, so this is what a JetBrains from the JetBrains Community Edition. So in this particular folder, it will be installed. So I'm not going to click on install because I already have this PyCharm in my local machine. If you don't know, even if you are not understanding this, I have specified step by step in the material. Just go through that. So I'm just clicking on cancel because I have already installed in my local machine. So how you can run this PyCharm? So to run this PyCharm, what you need to do, just click on the search bar, search for PyCharm. Once you search for PyCharm, you can see it here, PyCharm community version. This is what with version it will highlight here. Just click on open. So once you click on open, you can see it here. This is what the window at the very beginning. At the very beginning, once you install PyCharm, this is what the beginning window you will be seeing this. Now, one more important point. Before going to work with PyCharm, what you need to do, you have added bin folder to path during installation. Post that, what you need to do, you need to manually reboot that. You can reboot immediately, you can manually reboot later also. But my suggestion is reboot at that specific point of time where you have installed this PyCharm. So you can reboot later, or you can reboot instantly also. So these are reboot is required. So to get the system updated with PyCharm. So these are the important steps you need to follow during installation of PyCharm. So if you can see it here, this is what the very beginning page. What you need to do, you need to create a project. So for creating a project, there are three ways. You can open existing project which you have already in your local machine. So if there is a version control system which you are using, like a Git or GitHub, Subversion or a Bitbucket, you can get that particular project from that VCS version control system by using this specific option. So we will discuss what about this version control system, what is Git, and in the previous session, in the coming sessions. Don't worry right now. So what we will do right now, we will create a new project in our local machine. Click on new project. Once you click on new project, you need to specify what is the project name. So you can give any project name, but I am giving this was the project name, Selenium with Python. I'm specifying BAG22. So this is what some short name which I'm just specifying for your batch. So where this project will be created inside Dell, you are having PyCharm projects folder. Inside PyCharm projects folder, you will be installing this Python. Now, for every project, there are dependencies, nothing but libraries, packages, which are specific to that project. That means without those dependencies, you will not be able to execute your code. So for that, you need virtual environment, which will be a isolation from project to project. So if you can see here, this is what the virtual environment, which we are just creating. So going ahead, what we will do, we will just try to install that. We will try to take from one location instead of creating virtual environment for multiple projects. So going ahead, you will understand how you can create that. So once you specify this project name in this location, you can change the location as well. Just click on this folder icon. So appropriately, you can set, you can just specify which folder you need to save this project. So click on create. Once you click on create, project will be created. You can see it is creating virtual environment, which is isolated environment for this project from different projects. So just click on maximize. So if you can see, this is what the window of PyCharm. Inside this window, you can see lot of options: file, edit, view, navigate, code, refactor, run, tools, VCS. So Windows help. You can see your terminal. One of the biggest advantage of install using PyCharm is it is having inbuilt support for terminal. That means the same command prompt you can access from the terminal option in the PyCharm. So this particular error which you are getting is because of this particular name, which is not the appropriate name. So what I will do, let me try to refactor that name. So if you can rename a project, this is what I'm just renaming a project, guys, because you should not have any spaces between this. I'm just removing the spaces. Click on OK. So if you can see, once I open terminal, you can see it is, I need to open this, I need to close this. Let me try to rename that one more time. Rename. Let me rename directory right now. So let me try to remove the spaces. Very important. This is what one observation which you need to have going ahead. It is not there. So yes, we can figure it out in later words, but for now it is not required. Now, what we will do, we'll create one folder. This is what the project. Inside this project, we'll create one folder for working with Python. So to create project, there are to create a directory, to create a project, to create a file, to create a module, there are lot of ways. So this is what the project name. Right click on that. Click on new. Once you click on new, you can see these are the different options available. So there are multiple options here which are locked because these options come from professional version. So right now these are not required, not at all required for now. So you can see you can create a file, nothing but normal file, scratch file, directory, package. There is a lot of difference between directory and a package. Going ahead, you will understand what is the difference between directory and a package. You can create a full Python file, HTML file, Docker file. So all these options you can just leverage for your purposes. Where you can access that, right click on that, mouse over onto new. So you can see a lot of options here. So right now what I will do, I'll just create a directory. Click on directory. Once you click on directory, you can see here it is asking for name of the directory. I'm giving day 2. This is what the day 2 directory. In the day 1 session, we have just given some introduction about automation. This is what the day 2 session. I'm clicking on enter. So once I click on enter, you can see it is a directory. You can see it here, it is created. Now inside this directory, to write a Python code, you need a module. So if you can see, I'm just giving a name of the module with hello world. Before that, you need to create a module. So how you can do that? Right click on that directory, mouse over onto new. You can see an option Python file. Click on that Python file. So you need to give name of that Python file, which is nothing but a module. So what is the name? Hello world. This is what name of the module. Once you click on enter, you can see it here, a module, a file with a .py extension, which is nothing but a Python file, is automatically created. Once it is created, you can see it here, it is just highlighting a cursor here. That means you can write your code right now. So let me write the code which I have specified in the notepad++. This is for the very beginning code, guys. You will not understand anything. Going ahead, lot of stuff we'll be learning. Functions, object-oriented programming principles, strings, list, lot of stuff you need to understand. But for now, those who didn't understand, don't worry. Just try to set up this. Just try to execute one simple program. So I'm writing one simple line here. Print of hello world. Hello world, this is my first Python program. This is my first Python program. You can see it here, guys. I'm just printing this statement. Let me execute this. How you can execute? There are 3 different ways how you can execute your Python code from this PyCharm IDE. So if you see ways to run Python code from PyCharm IDE. So what are the different ways available to run Python code from PyCharm IDE? So these are the 3 different ways. Right click on the module and click run. This is first way. So if you can see, this is what the module hello world.py. Right click here. You can see there is an option run. So along with the name, you are seeing this option. Click on that, run hello world. Once you click on hello world, you can see this is what the output printed in the console. Hello world, this is my first Python program. Now, what is the another way? So another way is click on green arrow on type right corner beside module name. So top right corner. So this is what the PyCharm. So inside PyCharm, you are having a green button besides this module name. This is what the module name. So there is a green button here. So once you click on this green button, the same output will be printed in the console. Let me add few more statements. So let me take x is equal to 200. Suppose y equal to suppose 300. Let me divide x with y, x by y, and print their sum. So you can see it here, once I click on this green button, you can see this is what the result. Once I divide, along with this statement has been printed in the console. This is the second way how you can run. Now, what is the third way? Click on terminal. Terminal is nothing like a command prompt. By using this, you can just execute that Python code by specifying this particular statement, Python as well as module name. So if you can see it here, I'm just clicking on terminal, specifying that Python. So once I specify Python, you need to specify that module name. What is that module name? Hello world.py. Hello world.py. This is what the module name. Once I click on enter, so it is saying that this file is not available. The reason is hello world.py. You need to change. You see, you have changed this project. So that is the reason. So let me try to rename this one more time. When you are seeing it here, so there is a third way how you can run your Python code. So what is the third way? You need to click on terminal, and once you click on terminal, there is a command prompt like appearance you will see on the terminal. So this is what the original PyCharm which you are seeing at the very beginning. Now once you click on terminal, you can see this is what like a command prompt. So but right now you are in this specific location. When you open this command prompt, you can see it here. This is what the location where you are having. But see users del. If you see that location inside the terminal of PyCharm, see users del. Inside del, you are having PyCharm projects. Inside PyCharm projects, you are having Selenium with Python BAG22. I have just renamed that name because otherwise you will be getting that name error. So after renaming, you can see in this specific location, your terminal has been opened. But if you want to go to this specific location inside your command prompt, what you can do, just you can take this location or just come here. So this is what your location. So this is what where your project is present. Just try to take this or just try to search for CMD, there only CMD. Once you search for CMD, you can see it here. This command prompt automatically opening it in this specific location as like in the terminal, because the terminal is inbuilt option for PyCharm. When you open terminal, it needs to be opened in the project location. So that is the project location which you can see here. The same you can achieve that by using this command prompt. But right now we will not be going to use this command prompt. At the very last, whenever we are executing our code in our local machine after implementing the project, we need a bat file. So that bat file is executed from this location. But right now it is not required. So what you can do to execute this Python code, you need to specify Python and that module name. So before going to specify module name, one more important thing, guys. Where this module is present inside day 2, you need to specify day 2. You need to specify day 2. So inside day 2, you are having hello world.py. This is for the module name. So hello world.py. You need to specify that module name. Once I click on enter, you can see hello world. This is my first Python program. After division, this is what the result. Every operator will return result. To see what it is returning, you can use print statement. So going ahead, you will learn extensively. So these are the 3 ways how you can run your Python code from PyCharm IDE. Very important thing as a developer, as a tester, you need to understand these points.